TxStampin, Sharon. On today's video, we're going to discuss vellum. I had so much fun making these cards, and I hope that the tips that I share with you and the samples that I share with you inspire you to make some vellum cards like mine. If you're new to my channel, I want to welcome you. I invite you to subscribe below and then hit that notification bell. You'll be notified every time I upload a video or I go live on YouTube. If you currently do not have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to help you. You can find out how to contact me, how to sign up for my newsletter, all that good stuff below the video. Just click the Show More button. Let me show you these gorgeous cards. I'm asked often about how can I use the vellum that Stampin' Up! Sells. So if you've already bought some vellum, I'm going to go through some things that are going to help you make some easy, elegant cards. We're all about the easy, right? All right, so the first one we're going to talk about is just the regular vellum cardstock. It is a thicker cardstock. It's not as translucent as some of the thinner ones. We used to sell a thinner one years ago, showing my age, I guess. But this is a good quality cardstock. So I'm going to show you some things to do with it that will help you make a gorgeous card. Then we have this cardstock. This vellum cardstock is the Shimmer Vellum, and it is in the InColors for 2021-2023. I bought this and hadn't used it. Absolutely don't know why, because it's gorgeous. It feels a little bit thinner than the other vellum that I just shared with you, the regular cardstock, but it embosses gorgeously. Gorgeously? Is that a word? It is very pretty, and it comes in the InColors. So here is Pale Papaya. Here is Evening Evergreen. Here is Fresh Freesia. It's just, I sure hope you can see the shimmer on the camera because it is just so pretty. And then we have Soft Succulent. Okay, Soft Succulent. Again, that shimmer. And Polished Pink. So you can see that I've been using it because once I figured out how to use it, I was having a blast. So, but yeah, this is the Polished Pink. So for those of you who like to get the download for my tutorial of the cards that I'm making, just so you'll remember it, I do have the measurements and the supplies that I used for all 4 cards that I'm going to share with you today. So here is our first card. We're going to be, I've embossed the regular cardstock vellum, and that is what's on this card, okay? I used the Wintry 3D embossing folders. And again, this was another folder I had not used. It's like a half folder. It is designed to go in through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss mini die cutting machine, but you can use it on the big one, which is what I did, regular Stampin' Cut and Emboss. And so there are 2 of them in there. One is the greenery, like evergreen, and then one is the snowflakes. So I took my vellum, I think I did it, yep, I did it this way, and I just embossed a portion of it like that, okay? I'm using the red rhinestones. There's a million in this pack, so that's why I added 5 rhinestones to my card instead of just 3 because I had so many. So let me show you my supplies. Pretty simple. I've got my basic white, and it is 5.5 by 8.5, and I've scored it at 4 1/4. I have a piece of real red. It is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And I have a piece of regular basic white that is 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And again, you don't have to worry about it because I've got that free download for you over on my blog. The stamp set that I used is called Holly Jolly Wishes. all kinds of ways to say Merry Christmas, Jingle All the Way, just a cute little set. This is in the mini catalog, but you could use any Christmas greeting that you have. This is going to make, I think this is an elegant Christmas card. My ribbon's a little up a little bit, but it's an elegant Christmas card. Anytime you're embossing or using vellum, I think it's elegant. So, all right, so again, I use the Holly Jolly Wishes. I'm going to use my Real Red ink pad. I'm going to get the static. So at this point I go, which side do I like the best? And I will point this out to you. One side is de-embossed, the other side is embossed or raised, okay? So it's raised. So embossed, raised. You decide which color, which way you like the best. I think it's fine either way, but this does give a smoother texture on this side. So we're gonna use this side. And I'm going to use my embossing buddy. I know that Stampin' Up! Doesn't sell this anymore, but I still have mine, and I love using it for my embossing. Okay, so we're gonna do this two different ways. You could do this two different ways. You can stamp your sentiment and dry it with a heat tool, okay? But that ink, this is a water-based ink, and that ink is going to stay dry pretty much forever is what I feel like. I don't want to wait for it to dry. So at this point, I could take my heat tool and emboss it. However, I could take my heat tool and heat set it. However, I've decided that I'm going to go ahead and pour some embossing powder on there just to give it a little bit more elegance. Remember, I said, anytime I use vellum or I emboss, I just feel it makes an elegant card. I'm going to just pour my clear embossing powder. Now, if you do not have the Stampin' Up! Heat tool, I want to explain some things to you. When you are embossing vellum, the Stampin' Up! Embossed heat tool has two settings on it. The first setting is for vellum. Did you know that? If you don't have one, you're going to need to do some heating, let it cool off a little bit. Do some heating, let it cool off a little bit. Because it's going to, a high heat gun, if you don't have this one, a high heat gun will make this really curl up, and it's really hard to get it as smooth as you want when you go to adhere it to your card, okay? So, low setting, high setting. So we want our low setting. And you can even let it run for a minute, or not a whole minute, but let it run to get it warmed up so that you're not embossing the vellum as long. So it's not as shiny per se, but I know that now that ink is dry, it makes it kind of cool to think that all of the colors of Stampin' Up! Ink pads can be used as with embossing powder, clear embossing powder, and you will have an embossed sentiment layer or image, whatever you're embossing. So now we're going to add this to our card. Okay, so now we're going to adhere our vellum, and my vellum is cut the same size as my basic white, which was 3 3/4 by 5 inches. and I'm going to add it with some liquid glue. Now, these are the old sponges that Stampin' Up! Used to sell. If you don't have these, you could use any kind of sponge. Let's see, I've got a lot of adhesive going on here. Let's fix this. Because we really want to make sure that we are getting adhesive, especially on those edges. We really want to catch those edges. And I'm really spreading this, okay? I don't have globs of glue because you can see globs of glue through the vellum. I think the main question over the years, as long as I've been a demonstrator, is how do I add vellum to my cardstock without seeing the glue? Okay, so now I'm touching this to this corner and I'm bringing it down to this corner, and I'm just going to walk it across with my fingers and my hands, just trying to get that all laid flat, okay? Really pressing those edges so that it's all stuck down. Once we've done that, I'm going to take the double-stitched red satin ribbon, and I always like to leave it on the bolt. I don't know, I feel like it's less waste that way. I'm just gonna grab my scissors. And now that I have adhesive everywhere, but I still want to add, I don't want to do that. I'm going to take my liquid glue again. I'm going to pick up my card. And I'm just going to add my ribbon. Kind of pushing that down for a minute. And then I'm going to add some more so that that ribbon area doesn't buckle or pop up. I'm going to grab my real red piece. You know, you can even take a bone folder to really make sure you've got those edges down. Because I could see a little buckle where it wasn't quite pressed. There we go. And now we're ready to add it to our card base. Again, I'm just going to use some liquid glue. I think I need this by the gallon sometimes. There we go. And now the final thing is, I hear it a lot, people don't like to tie bows. So why not just add just a little knot bow or a little knot tie? This will also help with the bulk of mailing. You don't have to worry about it being too bulky and having to pay more postage. I understand that. I'm telling you, this postage these days is about to kill me. Okay, so now, whoops. Now we're just gonna tighten that up a little bit. And now we have our embossed. I hope you can see that. And it's embossed. And then the final thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add our rhinestones. And like I said, there's a million in this pack. So I don't even know if this is called real red. They're just called red rhinestones. But I found that they go with real red or poppy parade or just whatever red you want to use. Just going to place about 5 of these on here. Just wherever you want. There we go. That card is done. Okay, let's make another card. That was so fun. How about this card? Can you see the shimmer? Oh, please tell me you can see the shimmer in the vellum and the ribbon. Again, I'm using the same stamp set and the same stamp. Just by changing the color, my two cards are already totally different. So I already introduced you to the Wintry 3D. This is the other piece, and I embossed my shimmery InColor evergreen, evening evergreen, that's what it's called. And I cut it to the same size as my cardstock. So instead of putting it on white cardstock, I have it matted on the same color, okay? I really felt like it made it pop and really brought out the color of the shimmer paper. We're going to use Evening Evergreen. I mean, talk about quick Christmas cards. But we're not just doing Christmas cards on this video, so don't think this is all about Christmas cards. So I wanted to remind you, there are 2 embossing folders in the Wintry 3D embossing pack, okay? There's 2 of them. So the first thing I'm going to do, and I always try to stamp first before I finish or before I add more to my card, just in case I might make a mistake. If I smeared this ink, I will just take this and put it up at the top and I'll try to stamp again, okay? So always try to stamp first in case there's a smudge, in case there's a smear. You know how that goes in our craft room when we're stamping. All right, so I'm stamping straight down and I'm lifting straight up, okay? All right, we're looking pretty good. We're going to adhere our vellum the same way with some liquid glue. I'm actually going to use my two silicone mats here. Again, catching those edges. Now, when you emboss these colored vellums, it's not as easy to see that adhesive through there, but you still want to make sure that it's nice and smooth so that it will, so that it doesn't show any globs of glue. I don't think I'm picking it up. Just, oh, my head's in the camera way, or my head is hitting the camera. Okay. Okay, so we're walking it with our fingers. Yeah, I'm off just a little bit. Let's try it one more time. It's curling, which the glue is causing the vellum to curl, and that's normal. Catching those edges. Easy peasy. It's so easy, guys. The key is rubbing that glue, walking it with your fingers, or really pressing down with your fingers, especially the edges, okay? If you see a little buckle, just keep pushing on it until it lays down. See, there's another little piece. All right, let's add this to our card. Now I'm going to show you a different way to add your ribbon, okay? What if you don't want a knot? What if you don't want a bow? What if you can't tie a bow? What if you're not happy with having a bow? But we wanted to add ribbon. Like when I first made this card, I stopped and I kept looking and I was like, oh, it needs something else. So I pulled out the shimmer, the gold shimmer ribbon, so pretty. And I took it and I cut like that. And then I took my adhesive, my liquid glue, and I just, how do I call this? I'm adding the glue, but I'm trying to like smush it down, smooth it down. Smush is, you know, kind of a weird word, I guess. But I'm just making it a thinner, I'm not making it a long glob of glue, a long line, just making a little bit thinner. And I'm gonna start over here. And I'm just gonna push it down. And then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut it. And I see I have a little bit of vellum hanging over, so I'm going to keep on cutting. Just clean that all up. And then the same thing on this side, get that ribbon. And now my ribbon is flush with the edges, nice and smoothed out. The last thing I'm going to add is the gilded gems. I mean, these are such easy Christmas cards. And I do see a little glob or a little smudge of ink. We're just going to hide that with a gem. Perfect way to hide a boo-boo. Cover it up. And there you have it, my friends. Quick and easy Christmas cards. Now let's make some different cards. Happiest of birthdays. I chose this stamp set because I love that. It's your day. Enjoy it, okay? So here's my first card. And I used the InColors again. This is the vellum. I used the polished pink ribbon. My supplies, super simple. I have a piece of basic white that is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then I have my polished pink that is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored in half at 4 1/4. And then I have another layer of basic white to go on the inside, okay? And then I used the embossing folder called Star-Crossed Embossing Folder. I chose a bunch of different embossing folders for today's video because no matter what folder you have, you can use it on making these quick cards. All right, so I've already embossed, and you kind of pick, let's get it open. You kind of pick where you want your embossing, you know, like I wanted half the crosses and half the stars, but if you wanted more stars, just move it up and vice versa, okay? So we're gonna get this off. We're gonna get some more glue. And when you're doing it this way, remember, you can't see that adhesive through the vellum, but you really want to catch those edges. Have I said that enough times? All right, let's move that over. And on this card, I have the crosses over here, but I'm just gonna switch it up. Let's see, this size paper is the same. I was like, wait, what size is my cardstock? What size is my vellum? This happens to be a 4 by 4 piece of vellum. Just to have a little bit different card. Pressing those edges. There we go. Then we're going to stamp our sentiment. It's your day. Then with this ribbon, we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to cut it. We're going to add some liquid glue. And if you'll notice, I'm really coming to the edges with my adhesive because I want to catch that ribbon. I'm going to take this and wrap it around. Okay. Pulling that in again because it's stuck to my finger. Add a little glue on that ribbon. And then we're ready to add it to our card front. I mean, I'm telling you, these are quick and easy. I normally don't make 4 cards on a video, but these are so quick, I had to do it for you. Okay, adding the inside piece. This big piece of paper gives us lots of room to write our sentiment, our greetings, our thoughts for someone's birthday. There we go. To finish this card off, I used the 2021-2023 InColor Jewels. And we're just gonna get these. I've used a lot of these, so I probably need to order some more. I just love them because they're more sparkly, I think. And they just go with this vellum so well. How about that? We're done. Last card coming up, guys. Okay, so here's our final card. Another easy card, but this time we're gonna tie a bow, okay? Otherwise, it's almost the same as the one we just made. Again, I used the Parisian Flourish, and this piece, I decided to center it in the middle of my embossing folder. But again, I'm using so many folders so that you can see the difference. And then I have a piece of pale papaya that I cut the same size. So on my other card, let me grab it. This one, I mounted the vellum paper straight onto the basic white cardstock, but you can also mat it or add it to the colored cardstock. So here we go again, adding our adhesive. Lining up those edges, pressing down. Guys, if you have not bought this paper, I hope you do. I mean, it's just so pretty. And when you emboss it, it's just stunning, stunning. And with it being 12 by 12, I know I'll be able to make a ton of cards. So I've got my basic white. We're gonna add this to this layer. If you wanted to save paper, you could cut this, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to add the pale papaya layer straight to my basic white cardstock. I like using the liquid glue when I'm adding layers like this, where I'm really trying to get those edges lined up so that I have a little bit of wiggle room. Oh, I wiggled it. Uh-oh, I wiggled it. All right, there we go. So we're going to use the same stamp set, Happiest of Birthdays. Now I have 2 totally different birthday cards that look totally different. Totally. All right, we're gonna stamp It's Your Day. I could have grabbed another birthday greeting, but I think you get the gist. Just grab a birthday greeting, grab a Christmas greeting, and make these vellum cards using whatever you may already have, of course. If you have already purchased this vellum, Shimmer Vellum cardstock, and you're like, oh, it's just too pretty to use, I agree with you, but use it because it is gorgeous. Whoops, I forgot my ribbon. Let's grab our ribbon. We've got our pale papaya ribbon, and we're gonna pretend it's that long. I almost forgot that. I get excited making cards and I almost forget things. Okay, so I'm gonna come back in, making sure that I get some glue right there. If you use the tape runners like the Seal Plus, you could just make sure that you have some adhesive right there. Now on this one, I'm just bringing it down just a little bit, pulling it taut. Give that just a second to let go of my fingers. Yeah, it's messy. It's messy, but it's okay. Y'all know what I do. I do have some hand sanitizer and I keep it on my station so that when I get too much adhesive and I want to keep working to like finish my card or finish the video, whatever, then my hands are not so tacky sticky or not really gluey. They're just a little bit tacky. And then when I'm all done, I can go wash my hands. I'm going to turn this over. Give it a good back rub. There we go. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and add another piece of basic white on the inside. And you know, you can decorate the inside of your cards. You know, if I pulled out a bunch of stamp sets, I don't want you to think, oh, I have to have all of that to do the outside and the inside. I know a lot of you love to decorate the inside, so decorate it the way you want to. There we go. All right, back to tying a bow. So again, I like to leave my ribbon on the bolt, and then I just make a loop and then bring that through, tying it, pulling it tight. And then I like to kind of wiggle that down a little bit and then pull, keeping my finger on the knot. I decide, ooh, I like that size. Cutting that at an angle. Kind of twist my knot. This ribbon is very forgiving for twisting. There we go. All right, let's grab our glue dots. We're going to add our bow with a glue dot. And you know, sometimes if the ribbon tails don't stick down, if you want to add a glue dot, you could. Trim this off just a little bit. Final thing, my absolute favorite, I swear. I love these matte black dots. I think when I buy them, I buy 2 packs at a time because I love them so much. They just, it's like that little black dress, goes with everything. All right, we're just gonna finish this card up and then we're gonna bring them, where do I want that? Decisions. How about right there? All right. So how do you make astoundingly easy vellum cards like this? I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope these tips were helpful to you, whether you were tying a bow, not tying a bow, just adding ribbon. But if you have that vellum shimmer ribbon, if you have the vellum shimmer vellum that is the new InColors, I hope that this inspires you to pull that out and make some cards. Happy stamping, y'all.